Is it rolling, Katie?
Yes.
Good. Okay, 1/26/18. It's Life Day for me. Yay.
Yay.
No, we're not going to go into why it's Life Day again, okay? So anyway, we can factor this, right? We can factor this into x and x, right? And then when we factor it, we get plus 3, okay? Everybody agree with that? Now, because it's the same twice, we can rewrite it as x plus 3 quantity squared. That makes it a perfect square trinomial. It just is a name. I don't care if you remember the name, but the name is, if you can factor it so it becomes something quantity squared, it's a perfect square trinomial. Yeah, Renee?
If this is on a test and we don't do a square, but we do it the other way, we get it wrong.
No, if you get it right, you're okay. Yeah. But I will ask on the test one question where I'll say, do it by completing the square, and you're going to have to show the steps, okay? Got it? Yeah. So 2, if we need to factor this one, same thing, x and x, right? 6 is right, -6, -6, everybody agree with that? Right? And then it is also a perfect square trinomial because we can write it as x minus 6 quantity squared. All right, everybody good so far, right? Now, we want to make this into a perfect square trinomial, okay? You might be able to see the 25, okay? You might be able to see that it's got to be 25, but if you don't see the 25, we're going to take half of b, which is, this is b, right? So we take half of 10, which is 5, right? Agree with that? So then when you take half of b and you square that value, you'll get 25. So half of 10 is 5. 5 squared is 25. And then once you've created that, you'll be able to create a perfect square trinomial, okay? So, you know, parentheses, 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 x, x, right? Plus 5 is a perfect square trinomial because I can write as x plus 5 quantity squared. Okay. Example 4, same way. Okay, do you already see the 49? Nice. See, some of you guys are going to see it, but if you don't see it, it's okay because we have a little rule. The little rule is take half of b, right? That's b, which is a -7. But you're going to square that and get a positive 49, right? So if you can see this already, you don't have to do this little rule, but the little rule will always work. Half of b squared, and I get a 49, so I'd have an x squared minus 14x plus 49, and of course, that'll factor x minus 7, right? Which we can rewrite as x minus 7 quantity squared. So we made it into a perfect square trinomial, okay? Now 5 and 6 are a little bit different. What we're going to have to do is get rid of the 2. We're going to common factor the 2 first, okay? So I'm going to take out the 2, x squared plus 8x, okay? You have to do this. Okay, you have to do this because you need just x squared, okay? So you have to common factor first. You need to have it just regular x squared if we're going to make a perfect square trinomial, okay? Half of 8 is 4. 4 squared is 16. Okay? So I took half of 8.
Oh, we can't see it.
Oh, there we go. I took half of 8, which is a 4. I squared the 4 and I got the 16, right? And that will factor. Now the 2 stays on the outside, right? X plus 4, right? Which is 2 times x plus 4 quantity squared, right? Okay? And we're going to get to the point where we're going to start solving with this, which is coming up on example 7. So why do we even do this? Let's do example 6. So that when we get to example 2, you can see why we do it that way. Okay, so take out the 3, right? Can't have a 3 there. X squared minus 2x, right? So I common factored out the 3. Common factored 3. This is b now. And if you're not sure where the 3 came from, you can always go backwards, right? See it, right? But we need a regular x squared. If we're going to complete the squared, you need just a regular x squared. Half of 2 is 1, and 1 squared is 1. Everybody agree with that? So it's got to be a plus 1. Or half of -2 is -1, but -1 squared is a 1. So that's got the 1 right there, okay? And this does factor into a x minus 1, x minus 1, and we can write it then as a perfect square, 3 times x minus 1 squared. Okay, before I move on though, show me thumbs up. Okay, I mean, be honest. I mean, if it's one of these, that's okay. If one of these, okay, Tammy, you're still here. Which I want you to be honest with me, okay? All right. So if I can help you, here's the trick. That's b. You guys agree? Half of that. What's half of that?
5.
Square 5.
25.
Okay. Half of this. Half, and then square it. What's negative 7 squared? Okay, see how I'm getting this? Okay. I had to common factor out first. That gave me the 8, right? Half of 8 and square 4, you get, good. I had to take the 3 out. It gave me the 2. Half of 2 is 1 squared is 1, okay? That's how it works. So let's go ahead. Number 7. Now we're actually going to use this to solve. So what I want to do, let's write some steps down. Step 1. Okay, so let's write some steps. Step 1. Move C to the other side, okay? Step 1, move C to the other side. So I'm going to have a 2x squared plus a 20x equals 5. Okay, that's step 1. Always. So write these down, and you guys can use these notes on your test, your quiz, right? Okay, step 1. And if C is already on the other side, because sometimes that happens, it's done, right? Does that make sense? Okay, step 2. Common factor out A. A is the 2, isn't it? A is the 2. I need just regular x squared, right? So I'm going to common factor out the 2. And that's going to leave me an x squared plus a 10x. And I leave a little space right here, because that's where I'm going to put my new number, right? Put a little space right here, okay? Because I need to fill the hole. Okay, step 3 is where we take 1/2 of b squared. Okay, 1/2 of b squared. Well, b is 10, right? Half of 10 is 5. 5 squared is 25. So I'm going to put 25 into there, okay? So I took half of 10, 5. 5 squared is 25, so I put 25 right in there. This will factor, won't it? This will factor. Now, step 4 is to balance the equation. Balance, okay? Step 4, balance equation. Okay, what I just did, you ready? I want you to see the 50. Do you see a 50? Okay, see a 50? But you see 50? I just added 50 to the side. Okay, I got 50 right here. When I stuck this 25 in, I actually stuck in 50, didn't I? Because 2 times the 25.
Yes.
So it's off balance. I just, in a sense, added 50 pounds to this side. 50 pounds to this side. Better balance it by doing what? Add 50 to this side. So I'm going to add the 50. So I'm going to have my 5 plus my 50, okay? All right, so I balance it. And we're going to practice this a couple of times, okay? Step 5, we're going to factor. So I'm going to go 2, and I can factor this, right? X plus 5 equals 55. I'll let you catch up, okay? Factored it, x plus 5, right? This will always factor into a perfect square trinomial. If you do it right, it will always factor, okay? So then this is going to be a 2 times an x plus 5 quantity squared equals my 55, right? Step 6, solve. Now this is what we did yesterday, right? This is the kind of stuff we did yesterday, so let's solve. How am I going to solve it? Divide by 2, right? Okay, hold on. Divide by 2, and what do I get? 55 divided by 2 is 27.5. 27.5, right? What do we do next? Square root it. Remember how we square rooted yesterday? How many answers? 2, everybody agree? square root, so we get two answers. We're going to have an x plus 5 equals plus or minus the square root of 27.5, which is fine. That answer is fine. It's better than a calculator answer, right? Calculator answer is the ugly answer. And then let's subtract the 5. X is equal to negative 5 plus or minus the square root of 27.5. Okay? So what we did is we were able to solve something that would not factor, right? It didn't factor. Factoring is always best because it's easiest. You guys agree? But if it doesn't factor, here's another way we can solve these without factor, okay? Okay, you ready to turn the page? All right. Okay, example 8. Let's solve by completing squared. So let's do it again, but this time I want you to try it with me. Okay, got our notes, okay, got your notes. What's step 1 say? So let's move C to this side. So let's move the 10 over here, right? That was step 1. So I'll go x squared plus 12x equals 10. And I always like to leave a space here because I know I'm going to put a number here. I always leave a little space here because I know I'm going to put a number here, right? Put a number right there. Okay, what's step 2? Common factor out a, right? Step 2 is common factor out a, but there is no a. So we can skip 2. Does that make sense? Oh, thank you. So step 2 is common factor out 8, but there is no a, so you can skip step 2. Does that make sense? Yes, Amber.
How do you know it's supposed to
Great question. A is always with the x squared, B is with the x, and C is the number by itself. Great question. Thank you. Okay. So step 3 said b, half of b. So half of 12.
We can't see that.
Oh, good. Okay, half of 12 is?
6.
6 squared is?
36.
Right? So step 3 says take half of b squared. So I'm going to add 36. And that will factor, won't it? And then you got to keep it balanced. I just added 36 to one side, so better add 36 to the other side, right? Okay. Step 4 said factor, right? Step 4 in our notes. Step 4 said, we balanced. We did balance. Now step 5 is factor. So we got, step 5 is factor. This will factor xx plus 6 plus 6, right? Equals 46, right? But I can write that as x plus 6 quantity squared equals 46. How am I doing? I'm not going too fast. Okay, got to solve, right? So how do I solve it? Square root it. How many answers?
2.
Good. Square root, 2 answers, right? So the square and the square root cancel. I'm left with just an x plus 6 equals 2 answers, right? Plus or minus square root of 46. 46 is a great answer because the decimal answer is ugly. I don't want a decimal answer. It's just an ugly answer. Minus 6. You guys liked it this way. In fact, third period liked it better with the minus 6 at the end. You guys like it better at the end? Does not matter to me, okay? And there's my answers. I've got 2 answers there, don't I? Okay, you ready to do example 9? Okay, example 9 is different because I want to be able to rewrite this in vertex form. So before I do anything, as an example, if I go back up to here, and had a y equals x plus 6 squared minus 46, you'd know the vertex of this parabola. Remember how we did the vertex? Remember the vertex would be at negative 6, negative 46, right? Remember how we did the vertex? So if we can change this into vertex form, we can get the vertex, right? So the way we're going to get this into vertex form is by completing the square, okay? Now f, x, and y are the same thing. You okay with that? So we're going to do the same exact process. Same exact process we just did, except we got this darn y in the way, but we'll leave the y. We don't worry about the y, okay? So what's the first step?
Move C over.
So let's move the 3 over, okay? So move the 3 over. I'll have a y plus 3 equals x squared plus 6x, right? Guys okay with that? I just can't add y and 3. It's just y plus 3, right? Okay, common factor out the a, but there is no a term, so we can skip that one, right? Okay, next step. half of this. What's half of 6? 3 squared is, so let's add 9. So it will factor, right? We add 9. And then, to keep it balanced, I'm going to add 9 here. Okay, how am I doing? Let's see what I got now. So I'll have a y plus 12, right, equals, and this will factor, right, x plus 3, x plus 3. Y plus 12 equals an x plus 3 quantity squared. How am I doing? Am I going too fast? Now, when we graph, it's always y equals, right? Y equals blah, 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 blah. You guys agree with that? So let's make it y equals. So let's bring the 12 back over. Let's bring the 12 back over, okay? So it says y equals. Now we want to solve for y, okay? Solve for y. So I'll have y equals parentheses x plus 3 squared minus 12. Okay, let's go back to what we learned way back, I think on Tuesday, Wednesday. Anyway, we talked about graphing if it was in vertex form. Actually, it was the first day, wasn't it? It was Monday. So we know the vertex of this parabola is opposite. Remember, opposite. Or back and forth. Remember my stupid little dance, back and forth. It's going to be at -3, -12. And that's doing it in vertex form, okay? Okay, homework. Or let's call it classwork, right? Page 345, 8 to 14. All, let me quit the record button.